Chapter 51, Huang Zunshan's Terror, which sect is Chang Mountain? After spiritual master Shan Qi's corporeal body was destroyed, his essence soul had just emerged when Hanju appeared out of thin air in front of him. He raised his hand and used the six-path soul absorption to suck his essence soul into his hand. Hanju then squeezed hard and directly crushed it. It was a complete slaughter. Huang Zunshan's eyes widened. He didn't even have time to help. Too fast. Hanju killed spiritual master Shan Qi as easily as stepping on an ant. There really was a trap. Huang Zunshan immediately turned around and chose to escape. Hanju jumped and moved in front of Huang Zunshan, stopping him. Somersault cloud. His movement distance was related to the amount of six paths spirit energy he used. It might be difficult to move 108,000 miles, but moving for a short distance was nothing to Hanju. Huang Zunshan was stunned. He looked at him in shock. Hanju took out the Kylin sword and pointed it at him. Wait. Don't make a move, I can make the raincoat sect cease fire. Huang Zunshan said in a low voice as a cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Hanju raised his eyebrows. I need to cut the weeds by the roots. Understand? Huang Zunshan actually admitted defeat. Hanju thought of his introduction. Huang Zunshan did not like killing. Could it be that he didn't want to attack the Jade Pure sect? Because of that, the actions of the Raincoat sect were delayed like this. Huang Zunshan said helplessly, actually, I don't want to create so many conflicts, but I'm the leader. I bear the responsibility of the entire sect. If I didn't take the initiative, countless disciples of the Jade Pure sect would have died. Right now, all of them are still alive and well. That was the truth. Zifan and Yang Tandong were still alive. Hanju hesitated. If it was really as Huang Zunshan said, then he could still control the Raincoat sect. If he killed him, the entire Raincoat sect would go crazy. At that time, they would take revenge crazily, and Hanju wouldn't be able to hunt them down all over the world. As long as you let me go, I'll definitely order the Raincoat sect to stop attacking the Jade Pure sect. Huang Zunshan said solemnly. Hearing this, Hanju's eyes flickered. Huang Zunshan heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that they could negotiate. At this moment, Hanju suddenly attacked, slashing with his sword. Heavenly Punishment Ghost Deity Sword. Huang Zunshan was shocked. He hurriedly raised his hand to block, and his surging spiritual chi forcefully blocked the terrifying sword chi. However, he was still forced back. Blood spilling from his mouth. Fellow Taoist. You. Huang Zunshan was furious. Huang Zunshan developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 2 stars. Hanju sneered. Perhaps Huang Zunshan had no choice in this matter, but how could Hanju let him go so that he could attempt to change the situation? He could make the Raincoat sect stop attacking. If he couldn't do it before, why could he do it now? It was better to just kill him and intimidate the Raincoat sect, preventing the Holy Ghost from creating more trouble. Hanju raised the Kylin sword and pointed it at the sky. The 6 paths spirit energy in his body erupted and soared into the sky. In an instant, a blue light appeared in the sky like an ocean. It was dazzling. Sword shadows appeared from it and quickly solidified. Huang Zunshan formed hand seals with both hands. 4 scepters appeared and revolved around him. He looked at the sword shadows in the sky and panicked. What kind of spell is this? No, it's a mystical power. Hanju was using the 10,000 sword sect. 10,000 sword shadows hung high in the sky. How spectacular was that? All of them pointed at Huang Zunshan, causing his limbs to turn cold. He quickly activated the formation, and the 4 scepters immediately pulled away. Spiritual energy burst out from the 4 corners and formed a rectangular formation. Hanju brandished his sword. 10,000 sword shadows attacked Huang Zunshan. Like a school of carps crossing the river, divine weapons descended from the sky. Boom! The 10,000 sword sect collided with Huang Zunshan's formation, scattering the surrounding clouds. Huang Zunshan's robe fluttered wildly. He gritted his teeth and resisted with all his might. What a powerful technique! Huang Zunshan was extremely nervous and regretful. If he had known, he would have followed his instinct. He wouldn't have listened to those fools and personally come to the Jade Pure sect. I knew it. The Jade Pure sect was truly fearless. As Huang Zunshan cursed in his heart, his spirit formation shattered. The violent sword shadow collided with his body, causing him to spit out blood and fly backward. He was not directly killed. It seemed Huang Zunshan was not so weak. As he flew back, he quickly turned around and flew into the sky. He seemed to have used some sort of mystical power as well. His body transformed into a streak of light and disappeared without a trace. He couldn't be allowed to escape. Hanju immediately used the somersault cloud while tracing his aura. Since they had already fought, he had to kill the enemy. Hanju moved faster. After a somersault, he stood in front of Huang Zunshan. Huang Zunshan was almost scared to death and immediately waved his hand. In a flash, Hanj took out the burning fiend bell and smashed it at him. With a boom, Huang Zunshan's right palm struck the burning fiend bell, causing him to feel dizzy. The burning fiend bell rapidly expanded as Hanj waved his right hand. The bell was first raised, then smashed down heavily, directly pressing Huang Zunshan down. He crashed into the forest. The burning fiend bell continued to slam repeatedly as the ground shook violently. The forest within a radius of several hundred meters was flattened. Huang Zunshan's corporeal body was smashed. He quickly summoned his essence soul and wanted to continue escaping. But his speed was nothing compared to Hanj. Hanj used the 6 paths soul absorption and directly sucked Huang Zunshan's essence soul into his palm. The battle ended. Huang Zunshan, who was at the 9th level of the soul formation realm, faced Hanj but was just like Duan Tongshan, unable to fight back. Another boss was defeated by me. I'm really strong. Hanj smiled in satisfaction and returned to the Jade Pure sect. The location of the previous battle had already attracted the elders of the sect. Hanj used the wind god technique and circled around them, quickly returning to the connate cave abode. The black-held chicken saw him and quickly asked, "Master, how is it? Should we run?" "I'm ready." Hanj rolled his eyes at it and said, "Your master, don't attack without full confidence. If I do, the enemy will definitely die." The black-held chicken was stunned for a moment before slowly lying down. Hanj sat on the bed. He raised his right hand and released Huang Zunshan's essence soul. Trapped by the 6 paths spirit energy, his essence soul could not escape. Upon seeing Hanj, Huang Zunshan's face was filled with fear. He asked in a trembling voice, "Who are you?" "He's too powerful." Although Huang Zunshan was cautious, he was still confident. He had never thought that he would lose so badly. Hanj said expressionlessly, "Zhao Zilong of Chang Mountain." The black-held chicken was confused. Who was Zhao Zilong? Which sect is Chang Mountain? Huang Zunshan was also puzzled. Hanj asked, "There aren't any great-grand elders in your sect, right?" The reason why he did not destroy Huang Zunshan's essence soul was to obtain information. Now, his 6 paths soul absorption could seal essence souls or normal souls, making interrogation easier. Huang Zunshan hesitated and said, "Yes. But he's already left the Great Yan." "Now, I'm the strongest in the Raincoat sect. Can you let me go?" "If you really can't, I'll leave the Raincoat sect and join the Jade Pure sect." In order to survive, he could let go of his dignity. Hanj raised his eyebrows. This fellow's personality was very similar to his. How despicable. Hanj snorted. "Let's see how you perform." With that, he closed his right palm and threw Huang Zunshan's essence soul into the depths of his soul, imprisoning it. With Huang Zunshan gone, the Raincoat sect was nothing to worry about. He could cultivate in peace. Hanj smiled and continued cultivating, charging towards the 2nd level of the soul formation realm. Chapter 52, 9 stars. Spirit Trampling Boots, Chaotic Heavenly Dog. The sect master of the Raincoat sect, Huang Zunshan, and the elder, spiritual master Shan Q, headed to the Jade Pure sect. However, there was no news from them for several years. Being attacked by the Jade Pure sect and the Vermilion Bird Sword sect, the Raincoat sect started to panic, especially the elders. With Huang Zunshan and the elders' abilities, they should be back soon. Why did it take so long? Did something happen? They recalled Huang Zunshan's worries and couldn't help but panic. Thus, they ordered all the outer sect disciples to rush back to the sect and defend against the attacks of the Jade Pure sect and the Vermilion Bird Sword sect. Previously, when dealing with the 2 sects, the Raincoat sect seemed very relaxed. Just the cultivators guarding the sect were enough. Now they were afraid. They were afraid that a mysterious enemy would appear. After a long time, The Jade Pure Sect and the Vermilion Bird Sword Sect received a request from the Raincoat Sect. The latter released all the captives from the two sects, including Huang Chihao. The Jade Pure Sect and the Vermilion Bird Sword Sect also retreated and returned home. After fighting for so many years, they were indeed tired. It had been 5 years since he defeated Huang Zunshan. Relying on the pills, Hanj quickly broke through to the 3rd level of the Soul Formation Realm. He had also used up all his pills now. Without Soul Formation Realm cultivation pills, he discovered that the spirit chi in the connate cave abode was actually a little thin to him. How many years would it take for him to break through to the Void Amalgamation Realm? No matter how powerful a cultivation technique was, it still depended on the surrounding spirit chi. When Hanj was a little troubled, Yang Tandong suddenly returned. After entering the cave abode, he pounced in front of Hanj and started crying. "Master, after so many years, I finally seen you again. Do you know how much I've suffered all these years? I always believed that you would come and save me, Master." Sect Master told me that if not for you presiding over the Jade Pure Sect, he wouldn't have dared to come and save us. Yang Dandong cried in an earth-shattering manner. The black-hell chicken cocked its head and blinked, staring at the stranger. Hanj felt ashamed. He didn't save Yang Dandong mainly because he was afraid. Hanj said, "Disciple, you performed well. I will teach you spells next." Yang Dandong's favorability toward you has increased. Current favorability, 3 stars. Yang Dandong was moved to tears and kept kowtowing. Then, Hanj introduced the Black Hell Chicken to him. Yang Dandong had already discovered the Black Hell Chicken, but he had no time to ask. "You must be Master's disciple. You can call me Brother Chicken from now on." "Brother Chicken?" Hanj was speechless. Yang Tandong was also stunned. The Black Hell Chicken harumphed. "I'm a phoenix. Sooner or later, I'll bring Master up to the 9 heavens." For some reason, the moment it saw Yang Tandong, it felt inexplicably hostile. It did not like his aura. It was the first time Yang Tandong saw such a big chicken. He was a little flustered, afraid that he would say something wrong and offend Hanj. "All right, go cultivate at the side. In a few days, I'll teach you a spell," Hanj said. Yang Dandong was pleasantly surprised when he heard this. He nodded obediently and hurriedly walked to the side to meditate. Hanj continued cultivating. It seemed that Li Qingcai and the rest had returned. Indeed, the next day at noon, Li Qingcai came to visit. "Ha ha ha. Elder Han, the spy I planted in the Raincoat Sect told me that the sect master is missing. Did he come to the Jade Pure Sect? Did you kill him?" Li Qingcai asked excitedly. Yang Tandong looked at Hanj expectantly. Hanj hesitated for a moment before nodding slightly. It was good that he revealed this so that Li Qingcai would not worry and disturb him all day long. "As expected of Elder Han, you're the greatest contributor to our Jade Pure Sect. The sect master of the Raincoat Sect is dead. They probably won't dare to cause trouble for a long time." Li Qingcai was extremely happy and couldn't stop talking. Most of the time, Hanj responded politely. After he finished speaking, Hanj smiled and said, "It's time for the Jade Pure Sect to cultivate peacefully. Sect Master, stop running around and cultivate properly." Every time he saw Li Qingcai getting beaten up, Hanj would worry for him. Li Qingcai smiled and said, "Right, there's one more thing. In at most half a year, the ancestor will be back. In another 5 years, it will be the Jade Pure Sect's Millennium Ceremony. It will be a joyous occasion for the sect. Although it was delayed for 2 years, it doesn't matter. I will invite all the sects to participate and build a good relationship with them. At that time, do you want to appear? I can help introduce you to the cultivation world and let them know who the most powerful deity-slaying elder of the Jade Pure Sect is so that your name can shake the cultivation world." Hanj hurriedly said, No, I can't tell anyone that I killed the leader of the Raincoat Sect. Let's pretend that we don't know about this. I don't want to show my face, either. I just want to cultivate properly. If the sect master wants to create hype for me, you'll be harming me instead. I've killed so many enemies for the Jade Pure Sect. If this gets out, I'm dead. At that time, I can only run and leave the sect." Li Qingcai agreed after hearing these reasonable words. Before leaving, Hanju expressed his recent problem and asked Li Qingzai to help increase the concentration of spirit chi in the cave abode. Li Qingzai immediately agreed. After leaving the cave abode, Li Qingzai began to worry. How else can I raise it? The spirit chi here is already the densest in the entire sect. I can only wait for the ancestor to return. Li Qingzai was vexed. He had already transplanted the best natural treasures over, but Hanj was still not satisfied. This fellow's breakthrough speed is too fast. As soon as Li Qingzai left, words appeared in front of Hanj. You successfully protected the sect and defeated the Raincoat sect. You obtained a numinous treasure, a sword technique manual, and an egg of a divine beast of Providence. Congratulations on obtaining a 5th grade numinous treasure, 9 stars. Spirit trampling boots. Congratulations on obtaining the manual, Heartless Flying Sword. Congratulations on obtaining the Chaotic Heavenly Dog. 9 stars. Spirit trampling boots. 5th grade numinous treasure. It can step on and absorb spirit chi. Its flying speed is extremely fast. It can increase the effect of movement mystical powers and movement techniques. Heartless Flying Sword, Heartless Sword Technique. After cultivating this sword technique, one's emotions and lust will decrease. The lethality of this sword technique is extremely high. Chaotic Heavenly Dog, one of the ancient divine beasts of Providence. Legend has it that the Heavenly Dog devours the moon. Currently in an egg state, Hanj couldn't help but smile. Finally, the 9 stars spirit trampling boots were good, being very suitable for running away. Great. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. Hanj was still at the 3rd level of the soul formation realm. During this period of time, he passed the Heartless Flying Sword to Yang Dandong while not cultivating it himself. Yang Dandong liked it very much. With his outstanding aptitude, he became proficient in the Heartless Flying Sword in 3 years and made a name for himself in the inner sect. He only advanced to an elite disciple half a year ago. He was about to break through to the Golden Core realm. The Chaotic Heavenly Dog had already hatched. It was even hatched by the Black Hell Chicken. The Black Hell Chicken did not know how to hatch an egg. Hanj had taught it. It had yet to establish its own values and morals, so it did not object. After the Chaotic Heavenly Dog hatched, it would especially take care of it. The present Chaotic Heavenly Dog was already the size of a calf. It had silver fur and looked like a fat wolf. That's right, it was fat. The Black Hell Chicken's plump body made it think that it looked better that way. Therefore, it also fattened the Chaotic Heavenly Dog. Hanj didn't stop it. Plump pets were the cutest. His cultivation level far exceeded the Chaotic Heavenly Dog. Since it couldn't surpass him, he didn't expect the pet to fight. What was worth mentioning was that the Chaotic Heavenly Dog was arrogant by nature. It dared to challenge the Black Hell Chicken when it was only 2 years old. This often caused the Black Hell Chicken to go berserk, so the connate cave abode was often in chaos. Chapter 53, Taoist 9 Cauldrons, Tathagata Incantation. One fine day, when Yang Tandong returned from his mission, he was very excited. Ancestor, the ancestor is back, Yang Tandong said. Hanj did not open his eyes. He immediately checked the strongest person in the Jade Pure sect. Taoist 9 Cauldrons, 8th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm, founding ancestor of the Jade Pure sect. 8th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm. Nice. Hanj immediately felt a sense of security. With such a powerful figure guarding the sect, it shouldn't encounter any more tribulations, right? Hanj said softly. Cultivate well. With that, he started the simulation trial and fought Taoist 9 Cauldrons. Yang Dandong rubbed his nose awkwardly. He originally had a lot to say, but seeing that his master did not want to listen, he could only obediently walk to the side and start cultivating. The Chaotic Heavenly Dog stared at him and whispered, "Brother Chicken, his aura is so irritating." The Black Hell Chicken narrowed its eyes. Yes, I feel the same. Although their voices were low, Yang Tandong could hear them clearly. He was speechless. Was his half-demon bloodline so irritating to demons? Yang Tandong felt wronged, but he didn't dare to say anything. After a while, Hanj opened his eyes and thought, is this the Void Amalgamation Realm? Not bad. He had lost. With the Wind God technique and the Somersault Cloud, he barely lasted for a few minutes. It was still very difficult for a cultivator at the 3rd level of the soul formation realm to fight a cultivator at the 8th level of the void amalgamation realm. Hanj took a deep breath. He had a goal. He wanted to defeat Taoist's 9 cauldrons as soon as possible. For the next period of time, the entire Jade Pure sect was very lively. Firstly, the Millennium Ceremony was coming. Secondly, the founder had returned. Under the publicity of the elders of the 18 Peaks, all sorts of legends about Taoist's 9 cauldrons spread. A cultivator who had lived for more than 1,000 years was extremely rare in the entire cultivation world of the Great Yan. Hanj was still in seclusion and did not go out. Several days later, Li Qingcai came to visit. Taoist 9 cauldrons followed. He was tall and had a head full of white hair. He had the bearing of an immortal. Hanj stood up and bowed. Yang Dandong followed suit. The black-helled chicken and chaotic heavenly dog sprawled on the ground as they quietly looked at Taoist 9 cauldrons. After Taoist 9 cauldrons entered the cave abode, he first looked at the black-helled chicken and the chaotic heavenly dog and then said in surprise, "These two beasts are not simple." "Young friend, where did you get them?" The others of the Jade Pure sect could not see the origins of the two beasts, but Taoist's 9 cauldrons could sense that they were extraordinary. After all, he had traveled the world and was very knowledgeable. Li Qingcai couldn't help but turn around. "Since when was there a dog?" Hanj smiled and said, "I got them by chance." Taoist 9 cauldrons smiled and didn't ask further. He walked to a chair and sat down. He looked at Hanju and said, "Young friend, it's all thanks to you that the Jade Pure sect was able to survive. Otherwise, the sect would have been destroyed. I came especially to thank you and also brought an opportunity." "Opportunity?" Hanj frowned. In his understanding, as long as it was not something directly given to him, it was a risk. Danger. It was easy to get into trouble. "I left the Great Yan cultivation world 1,000 years ago to seek the land of immortals. After that, I went overseas and lived in the mortal world. Now, I'm already the vice-sect master of a sect. This time, I'll bring some geniuses to cultivate there. When their cultivation reaches a phenomenal stage, they can return to the Jade Pure sect. Are you willing to go?" Taoist 9 cauldrons stroked his beard and smiled. "Overseas vice-sect master?" Hanj was speechless. "Your hometown was almost gone, but you went to join someone else's sect and made a name for yourself." Hanj asked cautiously, "Is your sect invincible overseas?" "It's difficult to be invincible, but it's still one of the overlords." "Overlord? Are there enemies?" "Of course. But there's nothing to be afraid of. It's very difficult to overturn our sect. There are many void amalgamation realm experts in our sect." "Oh, thank you for your kind intentions, ancestor. I won't be going." Hanj shook his head and rejected. The outside was so dangerous. If they weren't an invincible sect, they would definitely face danger. In the Great Yan, the Jade Pure sect no longer had any enemies. The strongest Raincoat sect was about to fall. Taoist 9 cauldrons smiled. "They said that you are very cautious. It seems that you are afraid that it will be dangerous to go overseas." "That's true. Back then, He began to brag about his adventures. Indeed, no matter what world it was, old men were always talkative and loved to brag. Hanj listened quietly. After Taoist 9 cauldrons spoke for a long time, Li Qingcai finally had a chance to speak. "Elder Han, it's fine if you don't want to go. It's also good to stay in the Jade Pure sect. Next, the ancestor will help our sect develop. At that time, the Jade Pure sect will definitely become the overlord of the Great Yan cultivation world. You want to cultivate diligently, right?" "No problem. I'll try my best to help you search for natural treasures. From now on, the entire mountain will be yours. I can expel the disciples from the other cave abodes and leave them for you and your disciples in the future." Li Qingcai smiled. He was the sect master and naturally didn't want Hanj to leave. Taoist 9 cauldrons had put it nicely. How could the geniuses be willing to return from a better sect? Of course, this was unless they were not doing well and were often oppressed. If Hanj left with him, what would happen if the Jade Pure sect encountered danger again? Taoist 9 cauldrons smiled and said, "That's right. I'll stay for at least 50 years before leaving. I'll first reform the Jade Pure sect and turn it into the holy land of the Great Yan cultivation world. During this time, you can consider it. A line of words appeared in front of Hanj. You are invited by Taoist 9 Cauldrons and Li Qingcai. You have the following choices. 1. Follow Taoist 9 Cauldrons and go overseas. You can obtain a bottle of cultivation pills, equipment, and a numinous treasure. 2. Continue to stay in the Jade Pure sect. Cultivate while keeping a low profile and strive for stability. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance. Hanj smiled and said, "Thank you, ancestor and sect master. I'll stay in the Jade Pure sect first." He silently chose the second option. In terms of choices, the first option may be better, unlike in the past. But he thought about it. There was no need for him to go overseas. Perhaps the spirit chi here was far inferior, but he had no enemies and could cultivate peacefully. If he went overseas, he might encounter many troubles. Hanj didn't have any blood feuds or terrifying enemies. Why would he want to go out? In addition, Li Qingcai's suggestion was also good. This cave abode was indeed small and the entire mountain was just right for him. As for the other disciples on the mountain, Hanj could only apologize. He believed that Li Qingcai could weigh the pros and cons. You choose to stay in the Jade Pure sect. Obtained a mystical power inheritance. Congratulations on obtaining the mystical power, Tathagata incantation. Tathagata incantation, Buddhist mystical power. It can vanquish ghosts and suppress evil spirits. Buddhist mystical power. Interesting. Hanj thought silently. The three of them continued to chat. Less than 3 days after Li Qingcai and Taoist 9 Cauldrons left, all the other cultivators on the mountain moved out. Under Li Qingcai's arrangements, a group of mortal servants came to plant the treasures. This batch of treasures was likely brought back by Taoist 9 Cauldrons. Their quality clearly exceeded the previous ones. Not only that, Li Qingcai even personally came to the foot of the mountain to set up a formation for Hanj. The treatment was as good as it got. When this matter reached the inner sect, the disciples thought that the sect master wanted to nurture a cultivation holy mountain. All of them began to look forward to it. Little did they know that this mountain only belonged to one person. Hanj didn't interfere with the matters outside the cave abode and cultivated in peace. The black hell chicken and the chaotic heavenly dog were also cultivating diligently. Soon, Yang Tandong left the cave abode. Li Qingcai intended to nurture him and let him take over the Jade Pure sect. Firstly, it was because of his potential, and secondly, it was to rope Hanj in. Half a year passed quickly. On this day, Xing Hongxuan came to find Hanj. The disciples of the various peaks had been ordered not to come to this mountain. However, Xing Hongxuan had Taoist Jingxu's support, so she dared to come. Hanj let her in. "Husband, I picked up a treasure recently and specially came to give it to you." Xing Hongxuan happily sat down next to Hanj and took out a jade pearl the size of a baby's fist. After Hanj took the bead and scanned it with his divine sense, his expression immediately turned strange. Xing Hongxuan said excitedly, "This pearl can automatically gather the spirit chi of heaven and earth and create chi gathering pills automatically. This is a good treasure." Chapter 54, Heavenly Quartz Jinx, Unparalleled Talent. Hearing Xing Hongxuan's words, Hanj's expression became even stranger. The reason was that his divine sense discovered a soul hidden in the jade pearl. This soul was a fierce spirit filled with a malevolent aura. It was obviously not a good thing. Hanj asked, "Where did you find this pearl?" After he explained the situation of the ferocious spirit in the jade pearl, Xing Hongxuan's eyes widened in disbelief. After that, she frowned and said in a low voice, "I obtained it in a cultivation market. I participated in the auction and obtained a treasure. However, someone targeted me. He followed me and wanted to seize my treasure. In the end, he was killed by me and I received this item from his storage ring." The fellow Taoist who accompanied me told me that this is a connate spirit gathering jade, and it's extremely rare. It's a cultivation sacred treasure. I heard that it was so amazing, so I brought it over to you. Hanj felt that something was amiss, but he couldn't figure it out. He immediately used the 6 paths soul absorption technique and eliminated the ferocious spirit inside. Then, he returned the connate spirit gathering jade to her. "Take it. I've already gotten rid of the evil spirit inside. This treasure won't be of much help to me. You, on the other hand, are about to break through to the golden core realm. You just happen to need this treasure, Hanj said seriously. Xing Hongxuan subconsciously wanted to reject him, but Hanj continued, your cultivation is too slow. At this rate, the possibility of me becoming your husband will decrease. You should be thinking of increasing your cultivation speed. Xing Hongxuan's smile turned bitter. Hanj couldn't bear to watch this. After all, this was the woman who had the highest favorability towards him. With a flip of his right hand, he handed Xing Hongxuan the spirit pills that he had seized in the past. These pills could help her break through to the golden core realm and help her increase her cultivation level. You were the one who gave me treasures in the past. I'll do the same to you now. Also, open a cave abode in the back mountain and cultivate, Hanj said seriously. Xing Hongxuan was pleasantly surprised and smiled sweetly. When Hanj saw this, he inexplicably panicked. He said seriously, we are not husband and wife yet. I hope that you will do your best to cultivate. Also, don't publicize our relationship. I have killed many powerful enemies for the Jade Pure sect. Don't become the enemy's weakness to threaten me. Understand? Xing Hongxuan nodded obediently. HMPH. Rascal. You still care about me. He said that he was afraid she would become his weakness, but he was actually worried about her safety. The more Xing Hongxuan thought about it, the sweeter she felt. She recalled that back then, Hanj was still a youth in her eyes. Now, he had become the powerful deity-slaying elder of the Jade Pure sect. Such potential was unheard of in the cultivation world. She had to work hard. If this continued, she'd not be worthy of Hanj. Xing Hongxuan didn't stay for long. She wanted to seize this opportunity to get closer to Hanj, but the Black Hell Chicken and the chaotic Heavenly Dog kept staring at her. Their eyes widened, making her feel embarrassed. A year and a half later, the spirit chi in the mountain where Hanj was at increased greatly. Besides the spirit gathering array, Li Qingcai also set up a protective array. Under Hanj's instructions, Xing Hongxuan quietly moved to the back of the mountain and enjoyed the boundless spirit chi there. One fine day, the Jade Pure sect's millennium ceremony was about to begin. All the righteous sects of the cultivation world sent people to congratulate them. The Jade Pure sect welcomed an unprecedentedly lively event. It was said that the sect master of the Raincoat sect vanished after heading to the Jade Pure sect. In other words, it was very likely that he died there. This greatly elevated the Jade Pure sect's status in the cultivation world. No one dared to slight them. After Taoist Nine Cauldrons returned, he began to personally clean up the sect. The spirit chi in the 18 peaks and the inner sect cities also increased greatly. Although it wasn't as good as Hanj's mountain, it was several times stronger than before. Not only that, but Taoist Nine Cauldrons also captured several great demons comparable to the nascent Soul Realm and imprisoned them in the 10,000 Demon Realm. The Jade Pure sect was growing day by day. Hanj wasn't interested in the Millennium Ceremony, so he did not attend and continued cultivating. What was worth mentioning was that as the Black Hell Chicken and Chaotic Heavenly Dog grew larger, the cave abode could no longer contain them. Hanj chased them out half a year ago. They had to make their own cave on the mountain. At the same time, they were strictly forbidden from leaving the mountain's vicinity. The Black Hell Chicken had been instilled with values by Hanj from a young age. Now, it was already a very timid, a very cautious chicken. It often taught the chaotic Heavenly Dog to have the same temperament as it. However, the chaotic Heavenly Dog was naturally arrogant and despised it. Although the chaotic Heavenly Dog did not respect it, the Black Hell Chicken still relied on its strength to forcefully control it. No matter what, this dog was hatched by it. In Hanj's words, this was its son. One fine day, a line of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanj. Detected bearer of connate Providence, checking its origin. Another bearer of connate Providence. Hanj already had an understanding of connate Providence. These were people with extraordinary fates. Some were jinxes, while some were children of destiny. A person with connate Providence was not absolutely powerful. Hanj immediately chose to check the person's background. Suchi, the reincarnation of the jinx of the heavenly court. He was born with bad luck and would bring calamity to the people around him. He had an extremely overpowering destiny, and the people around him were often forced to death by bad luck, while he would always be able to turn the situation around for himself. When he heard that the Jade Pure sect was the strongest sect in the cultivation world, He wanted to join it and learn an orthodox cultivation method. Special hint: because you have the providence of the descendant of an immortal emperor, you are not affected by the jinx's bad luck. In addition, you are not allowed to kill the jinx. Otherwise, even your providence as the descendant of an immortal emperor cannot stop the overwhelming bad luck. What the heck? Reincarnation of a jinx? Hanj was speechless. Although his providence as a descendant of the immortal emperor could avoid the influence of the jinx, the Jade Pure sect could not. Hanj hurriedly scanned with his divine sense. Suchi was walking towards the mountain. This was not good. Hanj hesitated for a moment before deciding to meet this jinx. At the foot of the mountain, a youth sat on a large rock, panting and wiping the sweat from his forehead. Although he wasn't handsome, his eyes were filled with spirit. He turned to look at the 18 peaks with blazing eyes. "Why are you, a mortal, here?" Hanj's voice suddenly floated over. He appeared in front of Suchi. Suchi shivered in fear and hurriedly knelt in front of Hanj. Suppressing his excitement, he said, "My name is Suchi. I want to cultivate. I know the rules of cultivation sects, but I want to skip the outer sect and directly bring my talent into the inner sect of the Jade Pure sect." How arrogant. Hanj was speechless. Also, why did that sound so familiar? Hanj shook his head and said, "You're old enough. You missed the best cultivation time." For the sake of peace and stability in the future, Hanj could only chase him away. "Impossible. My talent is unparalleled. How about this? I'll teach you the chi gathering technique. You can find another place to cultivate and not join the Jade Pure sect." "No, I have to join this sect." "Are you not a member of the Jade Pure sect? I heard that the sect is holding a millennium ceremony and is inviting all sects in the cultivation world." Suchi looked at him warily. Hanj was puzzled. How did this mortal know so many things? "Are you really not leaving?" "No." "All right." Hanj grabbed Suchi and brought him back to the connate cave abode. Suchi was thrown to the ground on his butt, hurting it. Hanj sat on the bed again and said, "From today onwards, you can only stay here. You can forget about going out for the rest of your life." Since he was immune to Suchi's bad luck, he was not afraid. As for why he did not kill him, he couldn't stand the overwhelming bad luck himself. Hanj was still worried that after killing Suchi, this fellow would immediately regain his identity as an immortal of the heavenly court and find trouble with him. It was better to be cautious. Chapter 55, 5th level of the Soul Formation Realm, Unlimited Revival. Hearing Hanj's words, Suchi was stunned. Then, fear and despair filled him. He asked while shivering, "Who are you?" "This is the Jade Pure sect." From what he knew, the Jade Pure sect was a righteous sect and would not do such a thing. "Suchi has developed hatred towards you." "Current hatred points, 2 stars. Hanj said calmly, "I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. You have no choice now. Stay here from now on." Suchi was terrified. He thought about it. Something was wrong. If Hanj was a bad person, he should have killed him directly. He was only an ordinary mortal and not a disciple of the Jade Pure sect. What was the point of capturing him? Wait. Could it be that the expert of the sect was testing him? When Suchi thought of this, he immediately calmed down. He immediately walked to the corner of the cave abode and imitated Hanj. He began to meditate. "Suchi's favorability towards you has increased." Current favorability, 3 stars. Hanj was stunned. From 2-star hatred points to 3-star favorability. What's happening? Is this kid mentally ill? Hanj ignored him and focused on cultivating. To prevent Suchi from eating, drinking, and defecating in his cave abode, he taught him the simplest chi absorption technique he had obtained. He would only teach him the first level so that he won't become too hard to control. Hanj only wanted this kid's cultivation to not catch up to his. After being taught, Suchi's favorability towards him reached 5 stars. The Millennium Ceremony was also in full swing. Even in the cave abode, Hanj and Suchi could hear leaking Tsai speaking to the entire sect. He recounted the history of the Jade Pure sect, causing Suchi's blood to boil. He was indeed still in the Jade Pure sect. Hanj must be an expert of the sect. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so daring. Suchi made up his mind to cultivate well with Hanj. The Millennium Ceremony passed very quickly. After the various sects left, The Jade Pure sect did not calm down. Instead, it became even more lively. Taoist Nine Cauldrons and Leaking Tsai modified the inner and outer sects and created more and more rules. In addition, Taoist Nine Cauldrons had also placed many good resources in the sect's treasure vault. There were cultivation techniques, spells, treasures, and so on. It could be seen that he was truly prepared for this return. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. Hanj successfully broke through to the 4th level of the Soul Formation realm. With the help of Taoist Nine Cauldrons and Leaking Tsai, the spirit chi in his mountain was more than 5 times stronger than before. Hanj was very satisfied now and didn't want to run around. He also didn't want to go overseas with Taoist Nine Cauldrons. During this period of time, the Jade Pure sect recruited new disciples without restraint. The number of outer sect disciples increased greatly, but the number of inner sect disciples had yet to increase. The Jade Pure sect only took in disciples from the mortals, so as to prevent any spies. Taoist Nine Cauldrons had not left for decades. This year, he left the sect with his core disciples. Chang Wei came to visit Hanju and told him about this. The Raincoat sect is finished. It's like a beaten dog now, hated by everyone, she said excitedly. The chaotic heavenly dog nearly exploded when it heard that. It couldn't help but ask, "What did you say about dogs?" To prevent Chang Wei from meeting Suchi and getting unlucky, Hanj specially came out to see her. The two of them chatted in the woods. The chaotic heavenly dog and the black hell chicken also liked to stay here. Chang Wei smiled and said, "I'm talking about a dog raised by mortals. You're different. Don't take it to heart." The chaotic heavenly dog felt that this made sense. She continued, "Under the founder's leadership, the Raincoat sect was utterly defeated. The founder emptied out all of their resources and let the Jade Pure sect use them in the future." Hanj was very satisfied. Taoist Nine Cauldrons helped the Jade Pure sect unify the Great Yan cultivation world before he left. This way, the sect wouldn't face the threat of annihilation again. Hanj's impression of him improved. "How's your cultivation recently? When are you preparing to break through to the Golden Core realm?" Hanju asked. Chang Wei blinked and said, "I have something to tell you. Master wants me to follow the ancestor overseas." Hanju nodded slightly. He was not surprised. That was good. Under Taoist Nine Cauldrons' care, she should be able to quickly increase her cultivation. "Junior brother, are you really not coming with us?" Chang Wei asked expectantly. If Hanj followed them overseas, Xing Hongxuan and Moza wouldn't have a chance anymore. Hanj shook his head and said, "It's too dangerous overseas. Now that the Jade Pure sect has become stronger, it's safer to stay here. Of course, for mortal cultivators like you, it's also good to go out and take a look." Chang Wei was stunned and almost died of anger. Hanj said seriously, "When you're overseas, you have to be careful when cultivating. Don't be fooled by other men. The path of cultivation ultimately depends on yourself. Emotions like love will delay you. When we pursue the Great Tao together in the future and travel the mortal world, won't it be beautiful?" Chang Wei's eyes lit up. Junior brother's words. "I knew it. I'm in your heart." He was right. Love couldn't tie down the path of cultivation. Chang Wei smiled even wider. The two of them chatted for 2 hours before parting. After she left, the chaotic heavenly dog sprawled beside the black hell chicken and asked, "Brother Chicken, that woman seems to like our master very much." After all, it was a divine beast of Providence, unlike the black hell chicken, who was still immortal for the time being. The black hell chicken said solemnly, "That's greed. She wants to eat master." Remember, if you encounter other dogs that are interested in you in the future, you have to avoid them. Otherwise, you'll never be able to obtain the Great Tao. You think too much. I'm serious. Master taught me about this. Brother Chicken, you're just a silly chicken. How can a chicken turn into a phoenix? What? The black hell chicken began beating the chaotic heavenly dog. In an instant, the forest was in chaos and the leaves fell to the ground. 10 years passed quickly. Hanj broke through to the 5th level of the Soul Formation realm, while Suchi's cultivation level actually reached the Foundation Establishment realm. His talent was indeed impressive. He didn't use the Foundation Establishment pill but still broke through so easily. Suchi enjoyed the cultivation process very much. More than 10 years had passed. But he didn't have any intention of leaving. He was very respectful to Hanj. One fine day, Taoist Nine Cauldrons brought the core disciples back, causing the Jade Pure sect to cheer. Hanj was also disturbed. He opened his eyes and prepared to relax. He clicked on his interpersonal link to check his emails. Your disciple Yang Tandong was attacked by a fiendish cultivator. Your Dao companion Xuan King Jun was attacked by demons and was severely injured. Your Dao companion Xuan King Jun was attacked by Buddhists and was severely injured. Your Dao companion Xuan King Jun was killed and revived. Your good friend Zafan accidentally entered an ancient forbidden ground and his providence changed. Hanj was stunned. Xuan King Jun was killed. It seemed that her mortal body could be revived infinitely. Hanj wasn't worried. After all, she was the demon lord. He noticed that Zifan's providence had changed. However, he couldn't see what the exact change was. Ha ha ha. Young friend Han, I've come to visit you. Taoist Nine Cauldrons laughed. Then, he turned into a gust of wind and rushed into the cave abode. Suchi couldn't help but open his eyes. Hanj knew that this was bad. The jinx was right beside him. Would it bring bad luck to Taoist Nine Cauldrons? Although he was a jinx, he shouldn't be able to pass on the bad luck so quickly, right? Chapter 56, Ancient Forbidden Ground, Mysterious Wooden Tablet. Taoist Nine Cauldrons noticed Suchi as soon as he appeared and asked in surprise, "Is this your disciple?" Hanj shook his head and said, "No, he's just my servant." Suchi wanted to say something but eventually chose to remain silent. Taoist Nine Cauldrons carefully sized him up, and his eyes lit up. "This child's potential is very good. It's truly a waste of his talent to be your servant. Why don't you follow me overseas and seek the great Tao?" Hanj frowned and his heart skipped a beat. "Oh, ancestor, you're courting death." Taoist Nine Cauldrons looked at Suchi and asked with a smile, "Boy, are you willing?" "I'm the founder of the Jade Pure sect. This is a great opportunity." He directly skipped Hanj because he already knew his personality. This kid was most afraid of trouble. If he could take Suchi away, Hanj might be grateful to him. Suchi was excited when he heard that. Hanj couldn't help but say, "Ancestor, this child's situation is special. It's best not to accept him." What could he say? Tell him that Suchi was a jinx? Who would believe that? Taoist Nine Cauldrons asked with a faint smile, "Why, are you unwilling to let him go?" Suchi immediately said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, ancestor. I want to stay here." He wasn't stupid. Taoist Nine Cauldrons was the founder. He actually came to visit Hanj personally with such a status. What did that mean? Hanj's status was not low. He might even be on par with Taoist Nine Cauldrons. Fine. Taoist Nine Cauldrons smiled, not angry. He walked to Hanj's side and sat down. He smiled and said, "Young friend, I've already gone to all the sects in the great Yan cultivation world. In the future, the Jade Pure sect will no longer be in danger. You can cultivate in peace." Hanj smiled and said, "Ancestor is truly the ancestor. How impressive. I'm very amazed." Taoist Nine Cauldrons stroked his beard and laughed, clearly enjoying the flattery. "When I went out this time, I discovered an ancient forbidden ground. There are abundant resources inside. I plan to take it for myself and make it the cultivation ground of the Jade Pure sect. This forbidden ground has just been discovered. There might be many treasures inside. Do you want to take a look?" Hanj raised his eyebrows after hearing this. Ancient forbidden ground? One word instantly appeared in his mind. Danger. Could it be the forbidden area that Zifan had fallen into previously? Hanj hurriedly shook his head and said, "Forget it. Let's give a chance to the other disciples of the sect." Taoist Nine Cauldrons shook his head and laughed. This kid is really afraid of death. This was also good. The other disciples were too rash. It was better for the sect to have a cultivator like Hanj guarding it. Taoist Nine Cauldrons continued with a smile, "In 20 years, I will have to leave. The heavenly immortal abode is about to open. I'm prepared to enter to pursue the great Tao. Let me tell you, the heavenly immortal abode has an extraordinary background. Every 100 years, disciples who ascended to become immortals would appear." He began to talk. Hanj found it familiar. Wait. Wasn't this what Xuan King Jun wanted to give him the first time she came to him? Heavenly immortal abode token. He had rejected her back then. From the looks of it, The heavenly immortal abode was indeed formidable. Even an 8th level void amalgamation realm cultivator like Taoist Nine Cauldrons wanted to enter it. Hanj listened patiently. Suchi also listened. After a long time, ha ha ha, when I come back next time, I might already be at the body integration realm. My grand disciple said that you have outstanding potential and can catch up to me in a few hundred years. At that time, you and I will fight and see who is stronger. Taoist Nine Cauldrons smiled proudly. Hanj was speechless. He suddenly realized that Taoist Nine Cauldrons' personality was different from what he had imagined. This fellow had the heart to show off. That made sense. Taoist Nine Cauldrons' return this time could be said to be extremely sensational. He even suppressed the top cultivation of the great Yan cultivation world. Such a person would definitely have a high-profile temperament. Hanj shook his head and smiled. Even if you give me a few thousand years, I won't be able to catch up to you. Taoist Nine Cauldrons was delighted. Taoist Nine Cauldrons has a good impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. He finally had a good impression of him. Hanj had been wondering why Taoist Nine Cauldrons didn't have a good impression of him when he had contributed so much to the sect. It turned out that he wanted to hear flattery. Taoist Nine Cauldrons was finally satisfied. He was just passing by when he came to look for Hanj. He was shocked to discover that his prestige in the sect was not the highest. He couldn't compare to the deity-slaying elder. Taoist Nine Cauldrons had led the Jade Pure sect to greater heights, but the deity-slaying elder had saved the sect. There was indeed a gap between the two. In addition, Taoist Nine Cauldrons was too high-profile. He often walked around the inner sect and almost all the disciples had seen him. As for the deity-slaying elder, other than Jade Serene Peak, most of the disciples had never seen him. He had always been very mysterious. Under such circumstances, the disciples worshipped the mysterious deity-slaying elder even more. After posturing, Taoist Nine Cauldrons left in satisfaction. Hanj didn't think too much and continued cultivating. Time flew. 10 years passed quickly. While the Jade Pure sect was growing rapidly, Hanj had been cultivating silently. His cultivation level had broken through to the 6th level of the Soul Formation realm. He used the simulation trial to fight Taoist Nine Cauldrons again. This time, he lasted for an hour. But he still lost. Hanj sighed. Taoist Nine Cauldrons, who was at the 8th level of the Void Amalgamation realm, was very strong. In a bad mood, Hanj prepared to go out and wander around. He suddenly recalled that Taoist Nine Cauldrons had already come into contact with Suchi. Would he encounter bad luck? He immediately opened the emails. Your good friend Mofuchu was attacked by demons. Your good friend Mozu was attacked by demons. Your good friend Taoist Nine Cauldrons encountered a mental demon during cultivation. Your good friend Taoist Nine Cauldrons was attacked by a mental demon, reducing his cultivation by 100 years. Your good friend Zafan is dead. His soul was recalled by a mighty figure. He has been reborn. Hanj was amused. Taoist Nine Cauldrons had truly gotten unlucky. As for Zafan, this experience was the protagonist's life. Hanj shook his head and laughed. His mood improved and he got up to leave. Suchi was still cultivating. Hanj didn't teach him anything. He had been cultivating with the foundational chi absorption technique until today and had never taken any youth-retaining pills. Now, he was already mature and was no longer the elegant youth from before. Xing Hongxian went out a few years ago and had just returned less than 3 days ago. Hanj decided to visit her. This was the first time Hanj came to her cave abode. Xing Hongxian was so excited that she stood up to welcome him. After the two of them entered the cave abode, Xing Hongxian waved her hand and used the formation array to close the entrance. Hanj sized up her cave abode. Although it was a cave abode, it had a unique charm. There were many paintings hanging on the wall, and the bed was a white jade boulder. It was spotlessly white. Xing Hongxian immediately hugged his arm and pulled him to the table. She smiled and said, "Husband, you came at the right time. A few years ago, I went to the ancient Forbidden Ground and obtained quite a number of treasures there. You can take a look and see what you like." She waved her right hand and treasures appeared on the table. There were jades, equipment, natural treasures, and so on. They were all very small. Hanj sat down and scanned them with his divine sense. He merely glanced at them. Although Xing Hongxian was already a golden core realm cultivator, what treasures could she find? Hanj suddenly exclaimed. His gaze landed on a wooden tablet that looked like a memorial tablet. Xing Hongxian noticed his expression and smiled smugly. How about it? If you like it, you can take it. Everything I have is also yours. Hanj ignored her and picked up the wooden tablet. There were no words on it. It looked very ordinary. However, Hanj could sense a faint spiritual will inside. It was very weak. Ordinary soul formation realm cultivators might not even notice. Hanj closed his eyes and probed with his divine sense. Boom! A powerful divine sense broke through the spiritual will in the wooden token. Immediately after, a memory surged into Hanj's mind. Xing Hongxian raised her hands and looked at him. It had been a long time since she had seen him so close. Why was this face so handsome? Xing Hongxian was no longer young and often went out to train. She could be said to be experienced and knowledgeable. However, no matter how many talented people she saw, she still thought that Hanj was the best. He was indeed the man she fell in love with at first sight. Chapter 57, 4th Grade Numinous Treasure, Successor of the Poison King. After a long while, Hanj opened his eyes and looked surprised. There was a secret technique hidden within the wooden tablet. Heavenly Puppet. This kind of puppet was made of spiritual energy. Hanj could create a puppet with the same cultivation level as him. The weakness was that the puppet didn't last long enough. After the spiritual energy was exhausted, the puppet would stop moving until the next time spiritual energy was poured in again. The heavenly puppet was not able to fight automatically. It required a trace of the user's soul thought to control. It was similar to a clone, but the destruction of the heavenly puppet would not affect the creator. Because there was no need for breathing, the heavenly puppet could be stored in his storage ring. This was a good secret technique. Hanj could create some heavenly puppets for the people he wanted to protect. Hanj immediately stood up and said, "It's indeed a good treasure. I'll go back and cultivate first. I'll look for you again after some time." With that, he vanished. Xing Hongxian was taken aback. Her expression turned bitter. However, on second thought, it must be a good treasure to make Hanj so impatient. She felt happy again. He would definitely like her more now. After returning to the connate cave abode, Hanj immediately started creating the heavenly puppet. He mobilized his spiritual energy with both hands as if he was creating an invisible clay figure. He was pleasantly surprised to find that using the 6 paths spirit energy to create the heavenly puppet was not an obstacle. The inherited memories told him that the creation process of the heavenly puppet was very difficult. The difficulty was related to spiritual energy. Under normal circumstances, it was difficult for spiritual energy to materialize, let alone create puppets. However, according to the heavenly puppet secret technique, it was indeed possible. This was extremely miraculous. At the same time, the secret technique to create a soul thought was rather rare and could be used on other techniques. Soul thought was equivalent to having an extra pair of eyes. Hanj planned to create some heavenly puppets for Xing Hongxian, Chang Wei, and Fairy Zai Xuan. One for his disciple, Yang Tandong, as well. The next time they encountered danger, his puppet would save their lives. However, Hanj still underestimated the difficulty of making the heavenly puppet. It took a full year. Hanj had only created one heavenly puppet. Although it was not difficult to create, it was too cumbersome and required a lot of time and effort. The newly formed heavenly puppet was already fully charged. This puppet was like a wooden puppet with a crude appearance. Hanj didn't dare to carve his face onto it. Wasn't that just drawing attention to him? Then, Hanj flashed into Xing Hongxian's cave abode. Still cultivating, she was shocked by Hanj's sudden appearance. However, when she saw that it was him, she smiled happily again. Hanj immediately took out the heavenly puppet and said, "Put this puppet in your storage ring. No matter where you go in the future, you must bring it with you. At the critical moment, it can save your life." With that, he returned to the connate cave abode. Xing Hongxian was pleasantly surprised as she looked at the heavenly puppet. Its figure was very similar to Hanj. On the other side, Hanj continued to create more heavenly puppets. With the first experience, Hanj created 2 more heavenly puppets in the next year. The heavenly puppet was equivalent to his avatar. Apart from not having his Dharma treasures, it could unleash his true strength. It was very powerful. Hanj had thought about creating an army. However, after creating the 3 puppets, he dismissed the idea. Creating a soul thought was equivalent to cutting off a piece of his soul. A few soul thoughts were fine, but a few dozen would be problematic. Any more and his soul would be reduced to a remnant soul. In addition, creating the heavenly puppet would delay his cultivation. In the past 2 years, his cultivation level had not increased at all. If he was obsessed with creating heavenly puppets, wouldn't that affect his true pursuit? That wouldn't do. It would delay his cultivation. Hanj took a deep breath. He put away the 2 puppets and left. Suchi was secretly curious. What were those 2 wooden puppets? In the past 2 years, he had personally seen Hanj create the heavenly puppets and felt that they were amazing. He couldn't figure it out and decided not to think about it. Hanj gave the 2 puppets to Changwei and Fairy Zixuan. Changwei was pleasantly surprised and kept pestering him. It took a long time for him to escape. Fairy Zixuan was very calm about it. The 2 did not talk much. One was passionate, while the other was cold. Hanj clicked his tongue in wonder. Yang Dandong followed the sect master and was always outside. He couldn't be found for the time being. Previously, he was still considering if he should refine a heavenly puppet for Mozu. In the end, he heard from Changwei that Mozu had already headed to the secret hall. The secret hall was the ancient mystic realm that Taoist 9 Cauldrons had discovered. He had created a new location for the sect inside, and the spirit chi there was richer than that of the inner sect. To join the secret hall, one had to be an elite disciple at the very least. In other words, the Jade Pure sect now had a new hierarchy. The secret hall, the inner sect's 18 peaks, and the outer sect, the ancient mystic realm, had yet to be fully explored, so only the secret hall was the safest. The inner sect had a teleportation formation leading there. However, the concentration of spiritual energy in the secret hall was not comparable to Hanj's mountain. So, he was too lazy to move over. Back in the cave abode, Hanj perked up and started cultivating. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanj. You are already 200 years old. You have already lived for a long time. You have the following choices for your future cultivation. 1. Cultivate in a low-profile manner, just like you did in the first part of your life. Cultivate quietly and don't fight for fame and fortune. From now on, the rewards will favor keeping a low profile. You can obtain a numinous treasure. 2. Cultivate in a high-profile manner, become a prodigy, and become famous throughout the world. From now on, the rewards will be more focused on cultivating in a high-profile manner. You can obtain equipment, a spell technique manual, and a mystical power inheritance. Unknowingly, Hanj was already 200 years old. Time truly passed quickly. Hanj didn't hesitate and chose the first option. A prodigy of a generation? It sounded great, but he refused to accept it. My aptitude is so amazing already, why should I be high profile? When I reach the Great Tao, won't I be able to travel the world more freely? Hanj thought proudly. You chose to cultivate in a low-profile manner and obtained a numinous treasure. Congratulations on obtaining a 4th grade numinous treasure, Frost Lord's Glazed Crown. Frost Lord's Glazed Crown, 4th grade defensive numinous treasure. It can reflect all attacks below the Void Amalgamation realm, except for some special mystical powers. It can effectively defend against soul and consciousness attacks. Another defensive numinous treasure. The system knows me well, Hanj thought in surprise. He immediately took out the Frost Lord's glazed crown and began to connect with it using his blood. This crown was very cool looking, being purple-blue in color, and looked very exquisite. From now on, Hanj was armed with numinous treasures from head to toe. He was armed to the extreme. Nobody at the Soul Formation realm could hurt him at all. As for the Void Amalgamation realm, they could forget about instantly killing him. Suchi noticed the glazed crown and his eyes widened. It was his first time seeing such a handsome crown. After half a day, Hanj finally made the Frost Lord's glazed crown recognize him as its master. He put the crown on, feeling more secure. Hanj continued cultivating happily. Another 5 years passed. Taoist 9 Cauldrons left with a group of disciples and headed overseas. Before leaving, Chang Wei came to bid him farewell. It took Hanju a long time to send this crying senior sister away. After Taoist's 9 cauldrons left, Hanj became bored. He used the simulation trial to check the person with the highest cultivation in the Jade Pure sect other than him. Li Qianlong, 5th level of the Soul Formation Realm, the successor of the Poison King. Chapter 58, 8th level of the Soul Formation Realm, Book of Misfortune. Li Qianlong, Poison King's successor. Hanj had a strange expression. Li Qianlong's name was very familiar. He seemed to have heard it somewhere before. Wait. More than 100 years ago, Moza had asked him to look for opportunities together. It seemed like she was looking for Li Qianlong's cave abode. He didn't expect that after so long, Taoist Li Qianlong would actually come here. The 5th level of the Soul Formation Realm was extremely high in the cultivation world of the Great Yan. If he returned openly, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Hanj had never heard of such a thing. Yang Tandong, Chang Wei, and Xing Hongxuan often came to look for him, but none of them mentioned it. What did this mean? It meant that Li Qianlong had infiltrated them. Hanju immediately searched for him. Li Qianlong was actually at the main peak. At that moment, Taoist Jingxu summoned all the disciples of the main peak. Xing Hongxuan was also present. Li Qianlong had an ordinary appearance and his aura was suppressed at the 1st level of the Golden Core Realm. He had an honest appearance. Yet who would have imagined that he was the successor of the Poison King? Hanj didn't send his divine sense into the main peak to avoid alerting the enemy. The reason why Taoist Jingxu had summoned all the disciples was to inform them of Taoist 9 Cauldron's departure. When Li Qianlong found out, he was overjoyed, but he hid it well. He had finally found an opportunity. Previously, with Taoist 9 Cauldrons around, he didn't dare to act recklessly. Now that Taoist's 9 cauldrons had left, he finally felt as if the clouds had parted and he could finally see the sun. Calm down. There's one more standing in my way. Li Qianlong thought silently. The most mysterious person in the Jade Pure sect. Deity Slaying Elder. He had heard that the reason why the Raincoat sect was defeated was that the sect master slaughtered his way to the Jade Pure sect and never returned. At that time, Taoist 9 cauldrons had yet to return. In other words, Deity Slaying Elder had the terrifying ability to kill the sect master of the Raincoat sect. Before Li Qianlong carried out his plan, he had to think of a way to deal with the Deity Slaying Elder. However, he had yet to find out who the Deity Slaying Elder was. It was said that he came from Jade Serene Peak. Jade Serene Peak. When he thought of that person on Jade Serene Peak, Li Qianlong's gaze became bitter. Ever since he discovered Li Qianlong, Hanj would often pay attention to him while cultivating. If Li Qianlong didn't want to harm the Jade Pure sect, he naturally couldn't kill him directly. He had sent a voice transmission to Xing Hongxuan. The inner sect of the Jade Pure sect was very peaceful, and there had been no incidents. Just like that, 5 years passed. Hanj broke through to the 7th level of the Soul Formation Realm. He was getting closer and closer to the Void Amalgamation Realm. Hanj was very happy. He checked Li Qianlong's location again and discovered that he had already left the Jade Pure sect. Hanj didn't mind. It was fine as long as Li Qianlong didn't cause trouble. Hanj checked the emails. Your Dao companion Xuan Qingjun experienced the aspects of life and comprehended a mystical power. Your good friend Mofuchu has fallen to the demonic path. Your divine pet, the chaotic heavenly dog, has comprehended its innate mystical power. Your good friend Taoist 9 Cauldrons was attacked by a demon king and was severely injured. Your good friend Taoist 9 Cauldrons is furious and his Dao heart is damaged. Your good friend Zafan obtained the domination physique, shaking heaven and earth. Hanj was stunned. Fook. So much had happened in the past 5 years. Mofuchu had fallen to the demonic path. What had happened to him? That dog actually didn't tell him that it had comprehended its innate mystical power. Taoist 9 Cauldrons was truly pitiful. Served him right for attempting to recruit the Jinx. As for Zafan, wow, he really lived up to his protagonist-like name. Hanj took a deep breath and felt that he couldn't relax. His cultivation might be the apex in the cultivation world of the Great Yan, but that did not mean that it would be the same in the future. He had to cultivate diligently. A protagonist like Zafan might change an era. Although he was still a golden core cultivator, His recent encounter was very similar to the early stages of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. He was constantly building his foundation. After so many years, the natural treasures in his mountain also began to mature one after another, and the spirit chi entered a period of explosive growth. Hanj decided to try his best to reach the void amalgamation realm. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years passed. Hanj's cultivation level had reached the 8th level of the soul formation realm, and he was not far from the 9th level. Every time he thought of the void amalgamation realm, he would be very excited. One fine day, Li Qingzai came to visit. To prevent Su Qi from passing on his bad luck to him, Hanj walked out of the cave abode. Elder Han, long time no see. How's your cultivation going? Li Qingzai asked warmly. He was in the limelight now. With Daoist 9 Cauldron's help, his cultivation level had already reached the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. Apart from his cultivation, he was also the leader of the righteous path in the great Yan cultivation world. All these years, Hanj didn't see him being attacked. Not bad. May I know why you are looking for me? Hanj asked with a smile. Li Qingzai smiled and said, the Righteous Path's Cultivation Conference is about to begin. Do you want to go? This conference is located in the imperial capital of the Great Yan Dynasty. You can obtain the providence of the human race that can aid in cultivation. An notification appeared in front of Hanj. Sect Master Li Qingzai invites you to participate in the cultivation conference. You have the following choices. 1. Reject. Continue cultivating. You can obtain a numinous treasure. 2. Accept it. If you leave the sect with the sect master, you can obtain a superior grade spirit stone. The difference in rewards between the two was huge. However, Hanj was already used to it. It was not that the system forced him to make such a choice, but that he had chosen to cultivate in a low-profile manner. This was the path that the system had planned for him forward. Hanj silently chose the first option. It was very easy for something to happen during the cultivation conference. It was a big deal. Hanj shook his head and said, forget it, I won't go. Sect Master, be careful. Although things have been going smoothly for the Jade Pure sect recently, the matter of the ancestors' departure will definitely be known by other forces. Li Qingzai sighed. This Elder Han's heart of cultivation was ridiculous. If it was him, with Hanj's ability, he would have long been out enjoying life. You rejected the sect master's invitation and obtained a numinous treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the supreme grade numinous treasure, Book of Misfortune. Book of Misfortune, unparalleled numinous treasure. It can curse living beings and bring misfortune to them. At the same time, it will not be detected by them. The Book of Misfortune curse? Hanj became interested. However, with Li Qingzai in front of him, he couldn't take it out. Sect Master, what do you think of Li Qianlong? Hanj suddenly asked. Li Qingzai was about to leave the sect. If Li Qianlong returned and wanted to cause trouble, Hanj had to know if he could kill him. Li Qingzai's expression changed when he heard that. Why do you ask, Elder Han? As soon as he said that, he felt that his attitude was not good. He hurriedly explained, this person was once my junior. His talent was unparalleled, but both he and Guan Yugang liked fairies Yuan. The two of them had a life and death battle and forced my master to make a move. However, Li Qianlong was not convinced and actually dared to make a move on my master. While imprisoned, he secretly fled the sect. Before he left a letter saying that he would definitely overturn the Jade Pure sect when he returned. He was very displeased when Li Qianlong was mentioned. Hanj blinked. It was another tragedy caused by jealousy. No wonder fairies Yuan did not allow her disciples to talk about love. Hanj said softly, Li Qianlong has returned, but he went out recently. He disguised himself and entered the main peak. Li Qingzai widened his eyes and trembled in anger. He grabbed Hanj and said, if he comes back again, Elder Han, you have to catch him. That's right, don't kill him. Don't be too ruthless and kill him accidentally. Chapter 59, Preparing to Break Through, Jinx's Secret Mission. Hearing Li Qingzai's words, Hanj was very curious about the gossip of this generation. Why did it feel like all of them liked fairies Yuan? Wasn't Taoist Jinx good enough for them? Well, that was true. Daoist Jingxu was not beautiful. Li Qingzai left after leaving some parting words. Li Qianlong's appearance made him uneasy. He frowned as he left. Hanj returned to his cave abode and took out the Book of Misfortune. This was a supreme grade numinous treasure. Hanj was very excited and started to drip blood on it. Suchi opened his eyes and looked at the Book of Misfortune in Hanj's hand. The Book of Misfortune looked more like a black drawing scroll than a book. For some reason, when Suchi saw the Book of Misfortune, he felt an inexplicable closeness. He liked this treasure. But liking was just liking. Suchi did not dare to ask for it. He continued to cultivate. Because of his outstanding aptitude, Hanj had imparted the Jade Pure technique to Suchi some time ago. The Jade Pure technique was the ultimate technique of the Jade Pure sect. It wasn't difficult for Hanj to obtain it with his status. The two of them already had a master-disciple relationship. It took Hanj an entire day to make the Book of Misfortune recognize him as its master. He injected 6 paths spirit energy into it and started cursing Li Qianlong. He imagined Li Qianlong's face in his mind. Between the mountains and rivers was a bamboo house. Li Qianlong knelt at the entrance. He asked in a low voice, "Master, what must I do for you to leave the mountain?" An old voice came from inside. "I've already left the cultivation world for 1,000 years. I don't want to participate in its disputes anymore. You can take revenge yourself. I've already passed on my legacy to you. Don't push your luck." Li Qianlong was extremely unwilling when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and said, "Master, then pass me the recipe for the divine poison pill. I'll rely on myself." "No, that's my ultimate treasure. If I pass it to you, won't I be stupid if you used it to poison me to death?" Li Qianlong almost spat out blood. He cursed in his heart. Becoming a disciple of the Poison King was not a stroke of luck. He had been the Poison King's pill tester for 100 years. He had tried all kinds of poisons. That period of time could be said to be worse than death. The only consolation was that he would be the Poison King's only successor. In the end, this scoundrel, the Poison King, actually held back and did not impart all his skills. The Poison King's voice floated out again. "Taoist Nine Cauldrons has already noticed my existence. I can't offend him rashly. Right now, the Jade Pure sect is like the sun in the sky. Not many sects dare to offend them. However, if you insist, you can look for the Y family. Although they aren't considered top-notch in the great Yan cultivation world, they often roam the world and have a wide network." Li Qianlong's eyes flickered as he pondered. 5 minutes later, he left. He hadn't walked more than 5 kilometers when a bolt of lightning struck him. He was caught off guard. Fortunately, Li Qianlong's cultivation was high and he wasn't injured. He looked up at the sky and cursed. What a coincidence. Hanj cursed Li Qianlong for a period of time. He couldn't test the results and could only give up and focus on cultivating. A month later, Yang Tandong returned. To prevent him from meeting Suchi, Hanj walked out of the connate cave abode. Yang Tandong had already completely displayed his talent. After entering the Golden Core Realm, he first advanced to an elite disciple before advancing to a core disciple. He was one of the most prominent figures among the younger generation of the Jade Pure sect. "Master, I plan to go to the cultivation convention. When the time comes, the various sects will spar. Can you?" Yang Tandong asked nervously. After learning the Heartless Flying Sword, Yang Tandong's strength increased greatly, but he still felt that it was not enough. Hanj nodded and said, "Then, I'll teach you another ultimate technique to win honor for the sect. This ultimate technique is called the Wind God technique." Yang Tandong was excited and quickly thanked him. 3 days later, he left. Hanj felt like he had forgotten something. Oh, he had forgotten to create a heavenly puppet for him. Oh well, his luck was strong, so he should be fine. 5 years later, Hanj finally broke through to the 9th level of the Soul Formation Realm. Next was the Void Amalgamation Realm. But before that, he had to raise his cultivation level to the Major Perfection Soul Formation Realm. Hanj looked at Suchi. He felt that it was time to throw this kid out. It was not convenient if he stayed here every day. Hanj coughed. Suchi looked at him. Hanj asked expressionlessly, "You've been with me for some time. You can be considered to have stepped on the path of cultivation." Suchi said gratefully, "Thank you, Senior." Hanj said, I'll give you a mission. If you can complete it, I'll take you in as my disciple." Upon hearing this, Suchi's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly asked what the mission was. "I want you to go to the North State and join the demon taming sect. You don't have to do anything. Just hide in there and cultivate. In the future, I will personally head there and destroy their sect in the future. You will be my spy." Let me say this first. The demon taming sect is very strong. Even someone at the Void Amalgamation Realm can only be considered an elder. Hanj spoke in a meaningful tone. Suchi was shocked. He had already understood the cultivation realms. The strongest in the Jade Pure sect was only at the Soul Formation realm. How powerful was the demon taming sect? Most importantly, Hanj wanted to destroy it. How strong was he? Suchi's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 5.5 stars. A question mark appeared above Hanj's mind. Suchi hurriedly guaranteed, "I will complete the mission. This is a secret mission. You can leave now. Leave the Jade Pure sect and don't interact with anyone here." "All right." Suchi stood up excitedly. After walking out of the connate cave abode, the sunlight fell on Suchi. He couldn't help but feel as if a lifetime had passed. He clenched his fists and took a deep breath. "I must complete Master's test." Suchi immediately went down the mountain. On the way down, he saw the chaotic heavenly dog and the black hell chicken fighting. Yeah, they were fighting. The black hell chicken's bloodline was still awakening. As for the chaotic heavenly dog, it had the talent of a divine beast. Its cultivation level was second to the black hell chicken's. This fat dog did not want to remain in its current status. It wanted to be the elder. Naturally, the black hell chicken had to educate it. The two beasts often fought. Of course, their fights were non-lethal. Although the chaotic heavenly dog was arrogant, it was very close to the black hell chicken. After all, it was hatched by the chicken. After all, the black hell chicken was its father. Suchi smiled and said, "What a fat dog." This chicken and dog battle is really interesting. The chaotic heavenly dog immediately turned around and charged at him. Suchi fled in fright. After leaving the mountain, Suchi escaped the pursuit of the chaotic heavenly dog. He suddenly realized something. Where was the North State? Forget it. That wasn't important. He would definitely find out eventually. This was definitely one of Master's tests. After Suchi left, Hanj continued to cultivate. 2 years later, his cultivation finally reached the major perfection Soul Formation realm. He was about to break through to the Void Amalgamation realm. Hanj held back his excitement and checked his emails first. "Your disciple Yang Tandong was attacked by a demon king and was severely injured. Your disciple Yang Tandong had a fortuitous encounter and awakened the demon saint bloodline. Your divine pet, chaotic heavenly dog, made a mistake in cultivation. Cultivation has been reduced by 20 years. Your good friend Mofutu was attacked by righteous cultivators, X104. Your good friend Changwea accidentally obtained a fortuitous encounter and her cultivation level increased greatly. Your disciple Suchi was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X27. Your disciple Suchi was captured by the Green Ghost sect. Your disciple Suchi spread his bad luck. The Green Ghost sect encountered an extremely rare heavenly tribulation that struck once in hundreds of years. The entire sect has been destroyed. Chapter 60. Finally achieving the Void Amalgamation realm. Birth Dharma treasure. Destruction of the entire sect. Hanj was stunned and gasped at his amazing power. As expected of heavenly quartz ginks, he was a walking nuclear bomb. However, Hanj had never heard of the Green Ghost sect. It was probably a small sect somewhere. A truly powerful cultivation sect would not be unable to overcome a heavenly tribulation that was rare even in a few hundred years. Perhaps with Suchi, Hanj would be able to finish off the demon taming sect. Hanj noticed that Mofutu was being pursued by the righteous cultivators. He had completely fallen into the demonic path. It had to be said, the outside world was truly exciting and things were ever changing. Fortunately, he chose to cultivate in a low-key manner. If he was like Mofutu, Zafan, and Li Qingcai, how painful would that be? There was also his disciple. He said that he had gone to participate in the cultivation conference but was attacked by a demon king. Fortunately, he had survived. If he died outside, Hanj would be speechless. Something worthy of mentioning was that Li Qianlong had not appeared recently. Could it be that he had successfully cursed him? Hanj shook his head and prepared to head to the 10,000 demon realm. In a dark valley, Li Qianlong leaned against the wall and held his breath. A dozen cultivators stood beside him. Looking up, countless demons circled above the valley. A young cultivator by Li Qianlong's side couldn't help but grumble. "Senior Li, don't you know the way? Why did you bring us to the demon cave?" The other cultivators were also frightened. They were all cultivators of the Y family. Li Qianlong followed the Poison King's instructions and found the Y family. He spent a few years taking in their eldest son and established a good relationship with him. This time, he left the Great Yan with the Y family and was prepared to rope in other powerful sects in the cultivation world. However, something went wrong when they used a teleportation formation. They were directly teleported to the demon cave. There were countless demons here, and there was even a demon king whose strength was extremely terrifying. Even Li Qianlong found it difficult to defeat him. Li Qianlong was also very depressed. In recent years, his luck had been extremely bad. He had been struck by lightning during his journey and encountered a mental demon during his cultivation. He had robbed a young cultivator, but in the end, he was a soul formation cultivator pretending to be weak. This time, it was even worse for the Y family. "No, I haven't had my revenge. I can't die here." Li Qianlong gritted his teeth. Pet Beast Pavilion. Dozens of disciples were gathered, including Taoist Jingsu. From today onwards, all disciples are not to enter the 10,000 demon realm and must await the open notice, Taoist Jingsu said expressionlessly. A disciple of the main peak couldn't help but ask, "Master, what happened in the 10,000 demon realm?" The other disciples were also very curious. Every disciple would go to the 10,000 demon realm to capture demon beasts and increase their confidence in traveling the cultivation world. Taoist Jingsu said calmly, "Deity-slaying elder is undergoing tribulation. Perhaps he's cultivating a mystical power." She never thought that Hanj would break through to the void amalgamation realm. It had only been a few decades. Impossible. It had taken Taoist 9 cauldrons more than 1,000 years to reach the void amalgamation realm. One had to know that Taoist 9 cauldrons was the #1 genius in the Great Yan cultivation world. Whoosh. The disciples were in an uproar. "Deity-slaying elder is inside? Wow, I've never seen the deity-slaying elder before." It's said that deity-slaying elder is the strongest pillar of the Jade Pure sect. He has been cultivating in seclusion. No one can match deity-slaying elder's cultivation persistence. It's said that deity-slaying elder looks better than all men and women in the world. I really want to see deity-slaying elder's true appearance. Is deity-slaying elder accepting a disciple? The disciples were very excited and discussed non-stop. The news spread very quickly. More and more disciples rushed over, completely blocking the Pet Beast Pavilion. All the disciples had heard of the legendary deeds of the deity-slaying elder. Some people even said that the reason why the Jade Pure sect could be where it was today was because of the deity-slaying elder. Several days later, Guan Yugang rushed over. When he saw so many people gathered outside the building, he cursed angrily. "All of you, scram! Whoever dares to gather here will be banished to the outer sect." With that said, all the disciples scattered. Guan Yugang came to the counter and said, "Activate the formation. I'm going to the 10,000 demon realm." The person in charge hesitated. Taoist Jingsu said that no one is allowed. "Who do you think I am?" After hearing that, the person hurriedly activated the teleportation formation. After 7 days and 7 nights of persistence, Hanj finally survived the powerful heavenly tribulation and advanced to become a void amalgamation realm cultivator. With his ability, the heavenly tribulation could not kill him. Congratulations on breaking through to the void amalgamation realm and obtaining a birth dharma treasure. The birth dharma treasure will fuse with your soul and only recognize you. As you become stronger, the birth dharma treasure will also become stronger. As for the birth dharma treasure, you have the following choices. 1. Sword. 2. Defensive dharma treasure. Hanj was covered in defensive numinous treasures already, so he naturally chose the sword. After all, he was a sword cultivator. He chose the first choice without hesitation. Congratulations on obtaining the Primordial Judgment Sword. Primordial Judgment Sword, since you are not reincarnated normally, but have transmigrated here by crossing the primordial chaos. The primordial chi in your body has been refined into your birth dharma treasure. Primordial chaos. Hanj was stunned. Was it the primordial chaos? The system did not answer him. He didn't think too much and continued to consolidate his cultivation. His attributes now were: name, Hanj, lifespan, 227, 8940, race, human, mortal transcendent stage, cultivation, first level of the void amalgamation realm technique, 6 paths of reincarnation, can be inherited, magic, unparalleled finger divine sword, 7 illusionary steps, 3 pure shadow sword, unparalleled, 9 dragons devil expelling seal, major chilio cause a thunderstorm, wind god technique, mystical power, 6 paths soul absorption, heavenly punishment ghost deity sword, imitate heaven and earth, somersault cloud, 10,000 sword sect, can be inherited, Tathagata incantation. Equipment, golden cicadas mystic divine robe, 7th grade numinous treasure, little universe belt, Kylin sword, demon binding rope, burning fiend bell, 6th grade numinous treasure, 9 stars spirit trampling boots, 5th grade numinous treasure, frost lord's glazed crown, 4th grade numinous treasure, book of misfortune, supreme grade numinous treasure, birth dharma treasure, primordial judgment sword, cultivation potential, spiritual physique of the 6 paths. It contains top-notch wind, fire, water, earth, wood, and thunder cultivation potentials. Increases providence to a certain extent. Connate providence is as follows: unparalleled, immortal beauty, top-notch charm, destined sword fanatic, top-notch sword Dao aptitude, top-notch sword Dao learning ability, unparalleled movement technique, top-notch movement technique aptitude, Descendant of the Immortal Emperor. After the game begins, you will receive an unparalleled cultivation technique and 1000 superior grade spirit stones. Check interpersonal relationships. His lifespan increased to 8,940 years. Awesome. Hanj also noticed that his identity as a human had changed to mortal transcendence stage. Was this a hint that he was on the path to becoming an immortal? Hanj was in a good mood. After 200 years of boring cultivation, anyone else would have gone mad. But he was used to this. He even enjoyed it. This feeling of steadily becoming stronger was too good. The reason why mortals hated cultivation was that they could not feel themselves becoming stronger most of the time. However, Hanj was different. His potential was outstanding and he became stronger almost every day. Reaching the void amalgamation realm meant that he was truly invincible in the great Yan cultivation world. Next, of course, he had to continue charging into the body integration realm. Hanj thought firmly. At this moment, a voice sounded, "Deity slaying elder, I'm Guan Yugang. After you consolidate your cultivation, let's spar. If I defeat you, I will become the sect master.